Welcome, everybody. Good to be with you today. I feel like this is a time where it is good to gather and share with each other and bring our resourcing together. So very good to be here with you today. And we are here for our fifth and last integration session. We were just saying as a team also, it's amazing. It's been quite an stretch of energy, and just suddenly this feeling that, wow, next Thursday is our last session feels kind of extraordinary and surprising. And for sure, we already have ideas about aspects that will continue, and still something is slowly coming to an end here. And so, yeah, thank you for being a part of this call today. And today we'll have an integration session specifically building on the two last sessions again. So leadership and organizational thriving with Louise Murrah, and leadership and collective restoration with Maria Leister. And we will have a triad today in the session, and you know the setup by now, so we ask you to put DE in front of your name if you would like to be in a German triad, or we had two symbols for global majority, GM or BP for BIPOC. We've used both at different times, so maybe today we just go with GM for global majority and UA for Ukrainian. So great if you can put that. And also if you're not able to participate in the triads, you can put NT, but we really invite you to participate. Yeah, and it's a very special time for us all, I think. This is a time where the world reaches a new level of shakiness, and I think many of us are deeply shaken by what is happening in these days in the Gaza, between Israel and Gaza. Both our Israeli friends, our Palestinian friends are deeply charged with acute grief and existential fear. Yeah, and we in the Pocket Project are right now searching and sensing into pathways to create safe, supportive, and healing spaces at this time. And as I said last time, it's very likely that there will be a global social witnessing call with Thomas on the 23rd of October for this topic, but we're not yet clear how that call will respond to the situation. Yeah, but we also feel that this world situation really crystallizes the importance of what we are learning here. You know, as many newspapers have also named, or people have named, there is so much repetition of trauma that is happening in these global events. You know, if we go back to the roots of 1948, the Second World War, the Holocaust, and back to 2000 years ago, it's like long histories repeating themselves of pain, of grief. And yeah, I think many of us are currently asking. I remember when Bettina had her session, she spoke about each of us finding the connection to our authentic leadership. But she also said that leadership is based on our ability to respond. And I can imagine that many of us in this moment in this situation find it really hard to think about, how do I respond? What is my response? How can we respond to situations like this in the world? So we in the Pocket Project team are navigating, sensing, feeling, and I'm sure that many of you are also sitting with these deep questions. Yeah, so today we want to look at the last two sessions, both how do we bring trauma-informed leadership to our organizations, allowing them to thrive. How do we bring our care, our trauma-informed leadership to collective restoration in situations like this? So I would like to recap a little bit of what Louise brought, a little bit of what Maria brought, not so much. And then I'd like us to go into triads pretty early and then have a space to share with each other and to hear each other's voices. And how is each of us searching for ways to find our unique way of being at this time, our unique way of responding. Also knowing that none of us need to do it all. And we each have our unique place in the whole. Yeah, so before we go there, let's take a time to arrive more fully. Yeah, thanks, Slava. It's very true how much, for us also, the Ukrainian support project is so much in our hearts, and we're really looking at, how is all of this, how can all of this flourish, and how can we learn from the structures of one project in the other, and the deep learning in one place in the other place. So yeah, just appreciating you bringing that. Yeah, so let's take a moment to arrive and to feel how we are here. And to know that these are the moments where we need to resource ourselves. When the world shakes, we may feel that inside ourselves, but it's also time to root ourselves more deeply. So let's take a moment here to root ourselves more fully in our own embodiment. Yeah, and we all know these meditations by now, the 3-sync meditation of landing more deeply in our body. Maybe we can immediately open, as we open to our own breath, also to the breath of the group, as we all take a deeper in-breath together. That we feel ourselves expanding our own bodies, and we feel also how we expand together our collective body with each in-breath. And ground our bodies and ground our collective body with each out-breath. Yeah, and today, let's take a moment to honor the land, the mountain, the river, that you feel your body is close to, that resources you. It might be a country, it might be a piece of land that you live on or garden on. It might be a river or a stream that you visit, a mountain that you see. Let's allow ourselves to root this body as a child of the earth. We might also invite our feminine lines, especially, to stand behind us and have our backs as we live in these times. And bring their resourcing to us, everything they've learned about standing in their power, standing in their love. Yeah, maybe there's a specific grandmother, great grandmother that comes to you. Maybe it's more a line of ancestry that has your back right now. And through all this, maybe you can allow your body to unfold, open more. Allowing yourself to feel your body more, your feet, your legs, your belly, your shoulders, your chest. The beauty, unique beauty of your body, your breasts, your hips, your arms, your hands, your face. And your heart, opening to our hearts, and allowing ourselves to feel our emotions, our feelings more fully. Softening of the heart arising between us. And as we soften our hearts, maybe we can feel how the collective heart here of our group can soften and open. Immediately more can come online, more can be felt as we are not feeling it alone. As we start to feel together, sharing our fears, our grief, our love, places where we go numb, where we feel overwhelmed, the places where we feel powerless fury or empowered fury, places of deep caring for what is happening in Ukraine, in the Middle East. In all the places where we live. And also, as we come to our mind, some of us might have watched a lot of news, taken in information, and just feel, how is your mind today? Is there a possibility to open up more into this collective space, collective mind here? Become more receptive, spacious. Maybe consciously relax our foreheads, our brains. And also just notice where there is tension and hold it with care and lightness. Yeah, and today let's really invite our higher selves, the light. So moving to our crown chakras and opening beyond our bodies, inviting higher inspiration, the future, to be with us as we grapple with these times, the complexity, the painfulness. Let's invite together into this group space a grace and a blessing on all of us as we practice bringing trauma-informed leadership to ourselves, to our families, our teams, our communities, our organizations, to the world. Maybe you can pray if you like, in whatever way feels right for you. Ask for a blessing, for grace, for support. As you are finding your way and we all find our way. May we feel the support coming from this space, the shared space of women being together, trauma-informed women in leadership. Whether we are identifying as woman or more gender fluid, whatever is true for us and brings us into the space. Great. And let's see whether we can stay connected to this space of staying connected to our body, emotions, mind, even beyond the mind. Witnessing ourselves as we witness each other, as we witness the world. And just watch how we can stay connected to all of these layers within and without as we slowly open our eyes. And I warmly invite you also to move between the gallery view and speaker view as is most helpful for you, so that you can deeply stay connected to our collective holding space here. Yeah, so I'll just bring a few things from the calls. So I remember Louise saying, in terms of organizational thriving, how much it is about meeting people. We come together here in this space, but also in our organizations, and meeting each other as a sacred act. That this is a space that we come together as a sacred act, an act that links us to higher intention, to a place where we can go beyond our small selves, where we become more than the sum of who we are, where there is something higher, a higher possibility emerging between all of us, a sacred space that we open, and that our being together becomes like a walking prayer, the prayer of life. And that is one way to practice trauma-informed leadership, that we walk our lives like a prayer, like a sacred walk, where each moment is a moment to be infused by and to learn from, to notice on all these different levels how I am, how you are, feeling each other, sensing the world. Yeah, Louise said something that I have felt to myself in these past days, just how easy it is for us as we get more enrolled in what is happening in the world and the news of the world, how easily we move out of our grounding and our love into a place of doing, needing to perform. And yet we know that if we perform from that place of stressfulness and hyperactivation, that it is not our deepest possibility. So how do we practice the ventral vagal embeddedness that we learn from Debdana as we stay present to the shakiness in the world? Yeah, and Louise brought this beautiful wheel. I hope and trust that all of you have seen it, the model for deep change. And I'll just remind us of it. Maybe as we do that, we can actually relate it to our experience here right now in the group, that we come together right now in this call to explore how can we and how do we resource ourselves? How do we respond at a time like this in the world? This is where we are in the course, bringing our trauma-informed leadership to our organizations, communities, to the world, to global restoration. And this is where we are so shaken by, the global pain, the global trauma that is visible acutely. Yeah, and in that model, we start by resourcing, and as Louise said, resourcing ourselves in the deep source. So how are you right now gathering your resources? Yeah, and we just did that in our attunement together to gather our resources. And how can we do that every moment? Landing more fully and more deeply in our own root, in our own sacred womb space, holding space, midwifing, hospicing the deep changes that the world is going through. Yeah, and then how can we create withness? Being together. And again, this is what we've been doing here in our collective space, creating witnessing space, withness space. And building coherence within ourselves, between each other. It's a next level, a next layer of resourcing ourselves. giving and receiving love, creating safety. As Deb Dana said, each of us, in any moment, we are able to be centered in our ventral vagal, we create safety for others. And in those moments where we are triggered, where our sympathetic or dorsal vagal nervous system comes online, we go into deep fear, deep shakiness, deep stress, that we can ask for help. We can ask for co-regulation from others, that it's good to reach out. And I wish and I hope for many of us that we have peer groups and triads that we can reach out to, friends, family. Yeah. And then the third step was to undo, dissolve, let come apart, disintegrate. And Louise asked this question up, how can we undo our traumatized way of doing things? And I would say, especially at this moment, there can be a traumatized way of listening to more and more and more news when you're already extremely agitated and stressed and in your flight fight mode. How can you make sure that you resource yourself well before you come back and listen more? How can you resource yourself with others and not just feeling like I have to find a response here? And what can I do? So how can we allow our old ways of reacting to rest for a moment so we have a bigger space to come from? And also part of that is allowing us to not know what the next step is and allowing ourselves to rest in that place of not knowing, not trying to move fast from a place of not knowing. Yeah, and from that she spoke about transformation, restoring, really looking at each other, looking at ourselves from what is the next highest potential that is waiting to be downloaded in this moment. And I also invite you to go back to the leading from the future and ask yourself, what is the higher movement that wants to come through? Yeah, and from that, speaking our truth, looking at where do challenging things need to be spoken. Do we have a protocol, a caring protocol for challenging conversations? And how can we then co-create from that place? How can we keep the embers of resourcing, embeddedness, moving from higher intention, connectedness alive, and move into a movement of deep and continuous learning? Yeah, where it's about meeting the depth of the problem, not the depth of our agenda and quick fixes. Yeah, Maria was speaking about her experience and the fact that women who are trauma-informed play a crucial role at this time in fostering community healing and collective restoration. And that each of us becomes, as we move through this course and we bring what we have learned to our loved ones, to our teams, to our communities, that we become a ripple effect or an acupuncture point for a ripple effect. Every moment in which we don't respond from a stressed, quick, reactive, or numbing out response, we create a new movement that goes out. And she asks, what are the commitments that we owe as trauma-informed women leaders and global citizens to those in the world that are suffering right now on all sides of the conflicts? What is the responsibility? What are the commitments that we owe? Yeah, and she spoke about global citizenship as the being concerned about those in the margins. Staying concerned about those in the margins. How can we frame the conversations that we have at this time from a place of care, a care perspective, the ethics of care? How can we bring our care to the way that we speak about what is happening in the world? Yeah. And just reminding us, that trauma-informed also means that we understand that each of us, all of us, have blind spots. Yeah, that we move away from a pathologizing approach. This is not about any of us needing to be different from how we are right now. In a way, it's about trusting ourselves more fully, feeling ourselves more fully, embracing the difficulties and the challenges as the path. Yeah, and practicing a deeper embodiment to relate, stay related, stay sensing, even when we don't know what to do. Yeah, so from that place, I would like to invite us into a breakout group. And, for whatever reason you can't be in the breakout group, we'll come back together in the whole group in around 25 minutes. We'll have a minute to arrive in the triads and then 7 minutes per person, 2 minutes to complete. Sunita will send out the timing so that none of you need to be concerned about the timing. And as always, when you come into the breakout groups, so starting by really relating to myself as I arrive in the breakout group, then relating to the others, sensing the space that we are creating together. And then what I'd love to bring in, I'll just pop it in the chat here, is how do you embody trauma-informed leadership as a woman right now? At this, I think for all of us, challenging moment in time in the world. There is a fear of escalation in the region, in the world. Having a next war start while the Ukrainian war is still ongoing. It's just heartbreaking. I also have, and what helps you stay resourced? Because I think, these are the times where we need to share about that. How do we do it when it's actually really happening and we're all shaken? And also, these are just like additional questions. So, in the triads, just stick with this. How do you feel you embody trauma-informed leadership at this time? Where do you have experiences of success or feeling like, wow, I'm learning something, I'm applying something that I've learned in this course, and how do I stay resourced? How do I manage to stay resourced? but also these two other questions of how do I practice to stay related? How do I manage to sense myself, to sense others close to me, around me? How do I sense the world at this time? And also, how do I marry my love with my search for a response that expresses my unique power? And maybe for many of us, you know, the first response is really, I have no idea what to do at this time. Yes. Maybe if we can feel that more fully, something new might emerge or not. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, acknowledging the fear. That's beautiful, Lucy. So, Lucy, I see that you have an NT and there might be others. So if you really cannot participate, if you're just nervous, I super invite you to participate because the experience is again and again so nourishing for so many of us. And if you can't, just take time out for 25 minutes. Sunita will put you in your own room, the non-triad room. So, you know, you'll be moved there. You don't have to leave the call. And you can take time to journal, to rest, to do a few yoga stretches and join us again in 25 minutes and really looking. Yes, we will have more time for sharing today, Judith, and that's important to us also. And we especially also want to hear from voices that maybe we haven't heard so far. I'm putting that already in there. But are we ready to move into the breakout groups, Sunita and Anna?
Yes, we are. So I would say.
Great. Out you go, enjoy, and I am so much looking forward to hearing from you and allow the global wisdom of our group to come together. Oof, thank you for taking the time and the space to share. Yeah, and I'm, you know, for sure we would love to hear from you. So if you want to share, you can already raise your hand. And as I said before, also a special warm invitation to all of you who have not shared in the big space before and might just feel the courage or the inclination today, please. And also, let's just take a moment to share in the chat. So that we can also collect some of the insights, you know. How do you embody trauma-informed leadership at this time? Is there anything specific that came up for you, and how do you stay resourced? And we'd love to just collect a few insights in the chat so we can get a sense of our shared group, and then we'll hear from you, Anya and Bodhi and Ira.
Shall I already start, Kosha?
I think let's just wait a little moment, Anya, because I'm sure that a lot will be coming in here now. And just to give people a chance. Yeah, noticing how I arrive in spaces, Lauren, and noticing old habits versus grounding. And keep checking in with the body. I notice it sometimes. I get so involved in the work and suddenly later I realize, oh, I really needed to go to the toilet. So, yeah, grounding in the space where we share together. Self-care instead of triad. Yeah, Tammy, exactly. heart people, silent walks in nature, silence, stille als ressourcisch, silence. Writing on a blank page, our story. Human fragile touch. Room for tears of myself and others to be together. I am making more progress when I work, participate in groups. River walks, yeah. Thank you. This listening to the body, coming together with the hearts. There's a lot about coming together, creating heartful space, listening in. And to stay in the not knowing. So with that, please do keep writing, but it's just really good to see you here. So let's hear from Anya, who already started. Do you still have Anya, Sunita, or should she raise her hand again? She had already.
You should please raise. Oh, I found her. Yes.
Great. Good.
Hello.
Hi, Anya.
I'm so thankful to be here with you. To the question and our triad. So I've made some experiences in my leadership role in my last job. And I recognized when I'm in a special situation with people, maybe a conflict, or it may be another side of doing things, complaining, then there's always a little reaction in myself. And when I'm in a let's say good mood, I recognize that this moment of defense I'm falling into. So something is coming in and I don't like it because it means work, or it means a problem, or it means another perspective. Then there is this inner movement, like a physical movement of defense. And when I get this moment, I can just keep the door open. And it's really like a visualization inside of mine. And I stop the gate falling down, and I keep it up. And then something changes. And then I can ask, why do you think this? Or what brings you to think that this is better? Or, oh, that's interesting. Or, yeah, you can have this opinion. And I had really nice situations in doing this with some complaining people, and then afterwards we were like friends. But we kept our viewpoint, but we, in the same time, we connected. And that was really nice to feel. But it's always that I have to be quick. And meanwhile, I'm quite sensitive to feel this movement of rejection in myself. And this is always a sign to do the opposite and to open up and to keep staying there, waiting, breathing, and open up. But right now I'm in a challenging situation where I am not so sure how to react, because it's my first experience of sexual harassment in a new job. And I feel when I have the opinion of the chief as an enemy, then I provoke a reaction in him, which is also not helpful. But if I show too much understanding, perhaps my border is not clear enough. Although I wrote an email, I set my borders, and I think he understood this, but in the following working together process, this is like a shadow underneath now, and we can ignore it, and then it will be there forever. Because I think you are an idiot. How could you do this? I'm an employed person, and there is a hierarchy, and I will lose my job if I complain, and all this shit. And power theme. And this is a little bit challenging for me to find a balance between clear position and kind of accusation. This is not right. This is might not be, but also that I should keep a door open in seeing him as a human being, you know?
Yeah.
This is
it's a very, very tricky situation you're speaking of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, extremely tricky. So just to say that first.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like in the other moments you were speaking about, that often you were on an equal level, or you had maybe more power than the other people.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, the hierarchy is the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happens, it triggers so many aspects of us, of younger aspects of traumatization, because of course as children we are in that position and we are dependent. So it triggers a lot, and it's much harder to see clearly also, you know, to be what you speak about, like, you know, how to set my boundaries but also stay related to him, is very hard when the irritation happens in a situation where you have less power. It's a lot harder to find a clear response. And I think just to acknowledge that first, that this is tricky. And, you know, what you do today here to bring it to a larger space, that so that, you know, or to search for supervision, but allow light and relatedness to come to it, can be very important. So I would love to ask you how it feels in your body right now when you speak about it. How is your...
There is a kind of contraction because I'm not used to share. Mm-hmm. And but that's another theme for sure. But it's to share and to go out with this. I'm a little bit ashamed also that this happened to me, and I feel not very well, and smaller than I want to be. But at the same time, it's good not to stay alone with the theme.
Yeah, and to notice, you know, when you say you're smaller, you know, in a way you're already expressing that younger parts have been touched. And also when you say there's a contraction, and you're saying, you know, I'm also not used to speaking, right? That there is some kind of fear being, you know, that might be a fear just being touched on, which might be part of the situation with your boss and might be part here. And we can just see whether we can create a moment of space for that, where you can feel held in the witnessing awareness of our circle. And also the shame that you spoke about. You know, how many women have felt shame because they were victims of sexual abuse? But let's just stay with the feelings for a moment in the body. Staying with a contraction, maybe there is an emotional content, maybe not. Shame.
And anger.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Maybe you can also just, you might even shift to gallery mode, but just see whether you can feel that we are here with you. You know, I'm here with you, we are here with you. Because it's quite courageous to bring this theme and to allow yourself to be seen and felt and held in these intense feelings. Hmm. Oh. And it feels as if a softening is happening in you. Hmm. How are you now? How's your heart?
Yeah, I'm crying, but it's a nice way of crying. It's a relief, and it's nice to see all the faces with compassionate eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing you just said. Very, very wise. It's nice to see all the faces with the compassionate eyes. Because that is what was missing also when we were young and small, and we felt, somebody with power over wasn't treating us well. Right. Yeah, and then to have eyes looking, eyes seeing that are compassionate, that you're not alone with this. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Anya. And maybe we can leave it like this. And I invite you to just stay, and also for the group that we keep an attention with you and just keep sending a love and a care also to you, that we know, oh, this is happening to you. And we trust your wisdom. You have already learned so much, that we trust your wisdom to find the path slowly but surely that is right for you. As a trauma-informed woman in leadership, that you will find the steps that are right for you.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anya, and well done. Mm. Mm. Yeah, thank you. And we'll go to you, Body. You just need to unmute. Make sure you're unmuted.
Okay. Let's see. Is that good?
Yeah.
I just want to thank everybody first for expanding this moment into a moment of with each other, and noticing that with each other immediately expands it into a deep sense of connectedness to the earth, all the places that we are sitting in and being with. I'm always touched deeply by that moment that it dissolves into, it goes from that two-dimensional into a multi-dimensional experience. And so I really thank us all for making this possible in this this moment. I speak from Hawaii, a very, also a place that's in its own crisis of change. And I've been deeply inspired by listening to the navigators who literally navigate the oceans and are speaking about these times and how do we navigate the waters that we're in, the troubled waters that we're in, the deep ocean. And just one practice that they all share that I wanted to offer to all of us is that there's in every day, there's a dawn, there's a sunrise and a sunset. And between the sunrise and sunset, thousands of decisions are going to be made, tiny decisions, but that we together as navigators of this time, navigators of the ship of the planet, recognize that at dawn and at sunset, we come together with this sense of withness. And since we're all over the planet, that means that every single moment we're in prayer with each other. And we know that every decision that we make affects everybody. And even the very smallest moment is so deeply important. Just like if you are on a ship and on the ocean, every little thing is connected to every little thing. And the vibratory reality of that for me really opens me into a gratefulness for every moment. So I just wanted to say that. And that I'm so deeply appreciative, and that may we have many dawns and many sunsets together. And I really trust that we're all making the 5,000 decisions every day in a way that lift us all into unity, really. So that's all. That's just my prayer.
Yeah, and let's just give a moment of silence to your heart's movement and your prayer into our group, and just feel it ripple out. Sacredness of meeting. And the ripple coming back to you. Yeah, thank you. And I think we'll have a global social witnessing call towards the end of November for Hawaii.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I so want to be part of that, and would love to connect in any way that I can be of help in that happening.
Thank you, Bodhi.
Blessing.
Yeah, we'll go to you, Sylvia.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I would love to share with you some flowers I took today from a field. And I want to share what I
Leave them there for a little bit. They're
for
so
a little bit. They are so fresh
just
and powerful,
nourish us all. This is also resourcing, right?
and they are smelling fresh life.
Hmm.
And it's connected to what I learned today when I heard you saying the question, how do we or how do I embody trauma-informed women in leadership? I was aware at that moment, it was a reminder, oh, wow, I am a trauma-informed woman. It was really that I needed this being connected again with this awareness. And this made a shift in I am immediately connected with my source. And often I feel myself a bit insecure or a bit in the field of, oh, I can't. First the others, then me, and all this. And in the moment I'm aware of, I am a trauma-informed woman. And then the power is coming. It's amazing. And I could share it in the breakout. And through the response, the power again gets more connection, gets more deeper. And that's really my learning from today. This is embodying it. It's not, oh, I'm embodying it when I do this and this and this and that great things in the world. No, it's when it's just happening in myself. And then I can go wherever I want to go. And maybe I will lose it again. But I have an idea now how I can find it again and again. And then when I'm in the field of not knowing, I feel, okay, when I'm not connected to this, in the field of not knowing, I'm very insecure.
Yeah.
I don't know. And when I'm in the field of not knowing and I can connect, then yes, here I am. I don't know what will happen. I don't know what I will say next. And I'm connected to life in a way. Yeah. This I wanted to share. I learned it today and
It's so beautiful, Sylvia. Even right now, when you describe that, to see the shift in your body, exactly as you said, I'm not knowing and I'm kind of floating around with the not knowing, and then I am here, a trauma-informed woman, and right now there is not knowing.
yeah.
I am here.
Yeah.
It's amazing to feel the power in your body, and also how it I think maybe you also want to look at the gallery view, but that as you do that, it emanates. It touches us. It's as if your centering allows us all to center more.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of this quote by Marianne Williamson that was quoted by Nelson Mandela of, who am I to shine? And the question of who are you not to shine? Because every time you shine, you allow others to shine. And what you speak of, this fine movement, is so deeply ingrained in us as women, this insecurity about, am I allowed to stand in my power?
Mhm.
And this invitation that we are all trauma-informed women. At the end of this course, we are trauma-informed. You know, it might deepen over the years, but definitely
Yeah.
we are trauma-informed women. And just through that fact, we are in a leadership space in the world because we know something.
Yeah.
We have something to contribute.
It's somehow a wisdom we carry now in us. And I'm aware of that not much people in the world are trauma informed. So this also gives me power. Okay, then it wants to come more into the world through us, through me.
Right.
And there it's very easy to lose this strength. I really can feel it again in the body. It's very easy to step sideways, and then to find it again. And from out here, I can say everything I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Very inspiring to be with you in this. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And we'll go to you, Frauke, and you'll also need to keep it essential. I'm sorry. And you will also be the last one for today because we end. Yeah. But just to hear from you. How are you?
Ja, danke, Kosha. Ich bin sehr aufgeregt. Ich fühle mich total zart. Mein Herz ist ganz weich.
So I just need to translate.
Oh,
yeah?
Entschuldigung. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kannst du für mich übersetzen, Kosha?
Yes.
Nein.
So Frauke is just saying that she feels very nervous, very excited, very open and fragile today.
Genau, ich habe noch mal kurz überlegt, ob ich meine Hand runternehme, weil ich beruflich es für mich nicht ungewöhnlich ist, vor vielen Menschen zu sprechen und ich merkte einfach einen riesen Gap. Und jetzt zeige ich mich gerade von einem sehr weichen Punkt.
Yeah, so she was very close to taking down her hands because in your job, you speak a lot in front of big groups, but it's very different to this moment now where you show yourself like with a nakedness. Feels different.
Und ich danke, Kosha. Ich möchte eigentlich sowas wie eine kleine Geburt teilen, weil ich weiß nicht, warum mir das so schwer fällt.
I want to share a birth, and I'm not quite sure why it's so difficult. But let's just stay with it, Frauke, that you don't have to rush over this point and just breathe into this edge that you're feeling. And allow us to be there with you so that it has space.
Ich glaube, jetzt geht's.
Yeah, but it's good for us also. You know, we're with you. So it's lovely for us to take a bit of time on this edge, that you don't need to push yourself.
Also ich habe den Impuls, etwas Neues zu schaffen und es gibt wie so zwei Gründe, warum das mir schwerfällt. Und das irritiert mich, dass das so tief geht.
I have the impulse to create something new, and there's two reasons why that is very hard for me.
Ich weiß nicht, warum das so tief geht, aber ich habe eigentlich einfach nur den Impuls, Heilungsräume hier in der Region zu schaffen. Und der eine Grund ist, ich bin dafür nicht ausgebildet.
I have a huge wish to create spaces for dialogue and sharing in the region around me. And yeah, one reason why it's hard for me is that I don't have a training or an education for this.
Und dann habe ich das Gefühl, ich habe nicht die Berechtigung dazu.
And I feel like I don't have a right to create spaces like this.
Im Gegensatz zu meinen anderen Kompetenzen, die ich in die Welt bringe. Ja.
Yeah, in comparison with my other competencies.
Und zweitens habe ich so das Gefühl, dass ein Antrieb davon auch mein eigenes Interesse daran ist, weil ich einfach auch sehr stark da bin, mein Trauma aufzuarbeiten. Das habe ich in der Gruppe geteilt. Es geht um 2 Urschmerzen, es geht um 2 Urschmerzen.
Yeah. And I'm also very busy working on the integration of my own trauma. Yeah.
Und dann hat das sowas von Egoismus, dass ich also wie Anmaßung und Egoismus, dass ich diese Räume schaffe, weil ich ja auch selbst davon profitiere, privat.
Yes, I'm also feeling like I'm creating these spaces because I can profit from them myself. And it feels like there's something egoistical about this. We're at the end of our time, Frauke, so I'm really sorry, but we'll have to kind of bring it together here. Maybe we just sit with that for a moment.
Ein Satz, Kosha, ein Finalsatz.
Yeah.
Im Grunde meines Herzens weiß ich, dass das sehr gut zusammenpasst, also die individuelle Heilung und die kollektive. Danke.
Yeah. And in the depth of my heart, I know that individual healing and collective healing is one movement. So, yeah, and let's just give it a moment to breathe, Frauke. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing so deeply and vulnerably and nakedly here with us. And yeah, I think you'll also see how much care there is in the chat, you know. And somehow one thing I just want to bring, I also saw a question from Doris about, you know, well, being a trauma-informed woman, does this now mean that I have a big responsibility and I have to do stuff? You know, and both to you, Frauke, and to everybody here, you know, to really find our right rhythm and our pace, you know, and that like being trauma-informed is firstly taking care of ourselves. That's always the first step, like taking care of ourselves, coming back to ourselves, resourcing ourselves. And then there might be a moment of sensing, you know, is this the right moment to take the next steps for the spaces you wish to create, Frauke? Or does it need a moment? Who are the support people you might need, you know? So to take your time. You know, there is no need to rush. Hyperactivation and constant rushing is a trauma response. There is no need to say something specific. You know, just by bringing our awareness, noticing as was said before, that if somebody comes and I get irritated with them, you know, and my protection mechanisms come up, you know, just in that moment, opening. I don't need to say anything, but it changes the world in that moment. So I feel like we're in the middle of something very exciting here. together. Yeah, Anya was saying that exactly. And I also see you, Brigitte and Diana, and sorry that we don't have time for you, but I really invite you to bring it to the last session, because we're going to build on this exactly where we are today. So, what are the tools that we have gathered? How can we continue to gather them, not alone, but together also? How can we empower each other as trauma-informed women to be in the world? Not to do, maybe also, but to be. Yeah, and thank you so much for being part of the call today. I just want to say that just 3 brief announcements. So we have our last course module next Thursday. And in that, we'll have a bit more space also for sharing and for bringing the threads together. I'll be facilitating and hosting that meeting. And then we have a first call this coming Monday about the journey of collective trauma restoration, which is a first introductory community call also for a journey that we will be going on next year with the international labs. You can find out more about that on our website. And yeah, as I said before, we might have a global social witnessing call, very likely with Thomas Hübel on the 23rd of October at 8 CET. And we'll definitely have a global social witnessing call on October 30th with Saye Yabande and Kenza Isnasni from Morocco, who will be sharing with us about their experiences in Morocco. And with that, I want to say, please take care of yourself. You are precious. We are precious. And may we walk carefully as we practice this walking prayer that is our lives together. Be safe, be well. And looking forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Much love.